Hey guys, Vinny.
And this is Joe.
And welcome to Who Would Win. On this episode, we're talking about the leader of Universe 11's Pride Troopers, Toppo, versus the last recruit of Universe 7, Frieza. Who's going to win? On this little bit of a series that me and Joe are going to do, each of us are going to, on our own, look through the fighters, their strengths, their weaknesses, everything we know up until now. And on our own, we're going to determine who we think would win. And then here on the video, we're going to let you know, point out why we think that. And then we want you guys to tell us who you think would win. Who do you agree with? Do you agree with Joe? Do you agree with me? Maybe me and Joe will agree with each other. We never know. So right now, me and Joe have our thoughts on Frieza and Toppo. So Joe, what are you thinking?
I believe Toppo would actually beat Frieza in a one-on-one fight. And I want to go back to the fight with Toppo and Goku, where they're fighting. And Toppo able to actually keep up with Super Saiyan God pretty easily. At first, it looks like he's having some difficulty, but he's able to keep up with it and be able to fight Goku back. The biggest thing that Toppo was able to do is Goku did a Kamehameha point blank after instant transmission to him, and he was able to react and block it at point blank range of a Super Saiyan God. And the only time we saw this was during Cell, and Cell was supposed to be stronger than Goku at that time, but still got obliterated like it was nothing.
Well, I was going back and forth on this, Toppo and Frieza, and this to me was a tough one. I think this is a good matchup, and I think it can go either way. Initially, before we met Golden Frieza this second time in Dragon Ball Super, starting in like the early 90s episodes, I definitely gave the edge to Toppo for sure. I think Toppo had him beaten hands down. Now with Frieza coming back, this sort of new Frieza, he's a little bit more focused. He has a little bit more stamina. There's something about him that's a little bit different. I don't know. I was going back and forth on it, and ultimately, at this point, knowing what I know, I actually think Frieza would be able to take out Toppo. And this is where I'm coming at it with. When Toppo and Goku were fighting each other, I think that the fight got to a point where Toppo actually made a comment, something like, well, if you're just keeping up with me, if you're just even with me, you're not going to be able to beat Jiren. And that was sort of his comment to Goku. And so in Toppo's mind, Goku was sort of even with him. But I have a hunch that Goku actually wasn't really even with Toppo at that point. I have a hunch if they kept going that Toppo would have realized that Goku was actually beyond him at that point. And so if Toppo thought that his match with Goku was an even fight and Goku really could have went beyond that, I'm looking at Toppo and saying, I get it. He's got a lot of good moves. He can do a lot of good things. He's a leader. He's even been looked at to be a god of destruction, possibly. But with the new Frieza, who I think could go beyond where Goku was when he was fighting Toppo at that point, I think that Frieza would be able to take Toppo out.
Well, one thing you really need to also look at is how the battle ended. The battle ended where it looked like Toppo was about to really power up for real this time, and Goku instinctually felt like he had to go Super Saiyan God Kaioken because of how much Toppo was powering up to match him. Do you really think Frieza would be able to match up with Super Saiyan Kaioken Goku at this time? I just feel like Toppo, if he really did power up, would be able to beat Frieza.
Well, what I think would happen is that Toppo would come up to Frieza, and then he would do a little Justice On, a little Justice Crusher, a little Justice Rear Naked Choke, a little Justice Flash, and I think Frieza would do a little Golden Frieza, and probably a little beyond Golden Frieza, maybe something, and then come at Toppo, hit him when he's not looking, knock him right off that stage, because I think that Frieza has moved beyond Toppo. I think that Toppo has a barrier, and that's why I think Jiren's beyond him. Frieza has tended to be, now we don't know a lot about Toppo, but we know that Frieza has tended to always be the strongest. He's never had anyone really stronger than him. But now that Goku has come on the scene, I think Frieza has pushed himself so far. And he pushed himself really far the first time when he fought Goku. I think he, trained for like 4 months or something. But then once he lost to Goku and Vegeta, I believe that as he's been sitting in his hell, he has been mentally pushing himself even probably harder than he was pushing himself before. And I have a feeling that he'd take Toppo out.
I have just two more comments here for this. One, we gotta also understand Toppo's mentality. He seems to be stronger the more evil somebody he feels is. And I can't think of anybody more evil than Frieza, and I can't think of anybody who Toppo would probably go harder on than somebody as evil as Frieza. So I think that also brings up his strength because of the way his character is and the way he fights. The only other thing I have it also to compare to is Frieza was able to get knocked out by Goku in just Super Saiyan God mode with the one punch, where Toppo, able to fight Super Saiyan God, got punched multiple times in the face and took it like it was nothing. So I just don't know if Frieza really is up to snuff to face Toppo.
Now, we did see Frieza go inside of Sidra's energy ball of destruction. So we know that even God of Destruction type of attacks or type of energy is something that Frieza can not only be in, but he kind of laughed it off. So we know that he has definitely gone further than before. So I think we could go back and forth on this. Guys, we want to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think? Toppo? Do you think Frieza? Who do you think would win? Do you agree with Joe? Do you agree with me? Or do you think something else? Now, keep in mind, this is a one-on-one battle. There's no friends. There's no other people helping out. Nothing like that. So Toppo versus Frieza. These are our thoughts. We hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Vinny.
This is Joe.
Until next time.